I am so excited to introduce this next legendary group to you. But before we do, I wanted to kind of go into what they're doing now and the projects that they have, like, I don't know, they've taken on. This is big. This is a big project, and I am so proud of them. And I'm so happy to announce that, oh my gosh, it's the Whispers, guys. Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Thank you.
How you doing,
Thank you
sweetie?
so much for having us. Thank you for having us, my dear.
Oh, thank you for being on. Okay, so maybe you guys can like introduce yourselves to all us new youngsters.
Okay. That's always
I'm
exciting.
Leaveil Degree. Yeah, I'm Leaveil Degree.
I'm Scotty Scott, and I'm Walter Scott.
Awesome. And you guys are the Whispers.
We
Yes,
are the
we
Whispers.
are.
That's us. Yeah.
Now you got to understand, I am so excited because all the parties back in the day used to have all of your music. So there wasn't a time where your music wasn't playing in my house in South Chicago. Okay, so everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you guys.
Yeah, you come from our neck of the woods. Chicago is a great
Hey.
city for vocal groups, boy. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah. And so all the parties had your music. But what I didn't know was that you guys are on a mission now. And can we talk about that for a second? Because I really think that mission that you guys are on at this moment is just iconic. It's a lot. It's really big.
Well, you're probably going to get three different explanations. But first of all, let me say to you how much I appreciate the fact that you've given us this platform to talk about something that is very, very important, especially to young people, because we don't want the young people to fall into the trap that we did. And I shouldn't use the word trap, because back in the day, it wasn't so much as a trap as it was, there was a lot of racism going on, a lot of thievery going on. I hate to use those kind of words, but I'm just telling the truth. And for those today, the young people, we don't want you to go through what we have gone through. There's only one reason, the simplest way I can say, and I'm sure you'll get the other opinions from Walter and Leaveil, but to me, there's only one reason why we even have to go back and redo our catalog, and that's because it was stolen. If it wasn't stolen, we wouldn't have to go back and redo it. And young people, you don't want to have that happen to you. Yeah. And when it's stolen, that means other people are benefiting from your work and you are not. That's what happened. That's why we're in the studio now. After all of these years, you would think that was a problem that would have been solved, but it wasn't. So luckily for us, we're still here long enough to go in and redo our catalog and do it. And with all of the Black corporations in particular out there who are looking to do music with the act themselves.
Or white.
We're here to tell you, instead of you going to the companies that you've been going to, you can come directly to the Whispers now, because we're going to be the owners. And we can benefit from some of those situations that we probably should have been benefiting from years ago. We have the opportunity to do it now. And hopefully young people, you'll take a lesson from us and you don't fall into that same situation.
Well, I have a slightly different take on it. I want to applaud the young people, because this started with the rappers. They came in with their music believing in ownership from the very beginning. They said to the record companies, before we let you take our music, we will sell it out of the back of our car. I admire the rappers. I admire the young people. In other words, Scotty puts it as stolen. That's somewhat true. But back in the day, we're talking about 40, 50 years ago, what existed then, you didn't have the power or the credibility to go up against a record company. You were merely trying to get a record deal, to get exposure for yourself. And as time went on, just like everything, as time goes on, things get better for the younger generation, and the younger generation took advantage of it. We see today, you don't see Beyonce, Jay-Z talking about they work for a record company. Everything they do, they own. Well, we wanted it like that, but it wasn't like that. When we came along, you couldn't go to a record company and say, we want to own our product. They look at you like you're crazy. They would tell you, no, you go somewhere else, and then they go get somebody that would cooperate with them. But thank God that because of the statutes of limitations, and we're talking about people like Little Richard, James Brown, Chuck Berry, all these people, Ray Charles. Well, I take it back. Ray Charles was one of the first people to own his catalog. You know, he did have enough gumption. He was brave enough, you know, big enough to go to his record company and said, look, if I can't own these masters, then I want to go to a company that will let me own, because you're not recording it, I am. So I take my hat off to people like that. But because of them, we're now able, we've been singing 53 years. And we, you know, when we started out, we've been with a lot of different record companies. We were just like any other young act. You know, we wanted to get recorded, we wanted to be heard, and we didn't have any power. So whatever, if you got an opportunity to record, that's what you did. But thank God, as Scotty just said, we've been around long enough, and the good Lord is so good. He's still, even at this stage of our career, we can sing just as good today as we did 50 years ago. So now we can go in and re-record our catalog. And as Scotty said, not just Black corporations, any corporations that wants to do business, to stream our music, to let it be heard, you come directly to us now. What a joy that is. And like Scotty said, I'm gonna, you know, we're gonna do what the young people did. That's exactly what we're doing. Because most young acts today, as a producer or an entertainer, they own their product. You know, they go in and they might lease it and do business together. But unlike what we did back in the day, the record company owned everything. Them days are long gone. So it's just a blessing.
Yeah. And don't get it twisted, because to be honest with you, it's not only Black acts that didn't own their stuff, white acts didn't own their stuff either. I mean, that's why Michael Jackson was able to go in and buy the Beatles catalog, because they didn't have ownership to it. So then eventually Paul McCartney wound up buying it from him. So so it's one of those kind of things that when you first get in this industry, like Walter said, 40, 50 years ago, you didn't even have that to be even put on the table. Is either you take this deal and make as much out of it as you can, or you're not going to sing, period. So of course, if you're smart, you take the deal with the hope that in the future things would change. And thank God we've been here long enough to allow that to happen. So now we're trying to benefit off of what we've done over the last 50 years.
Yeah, definitely. That is a blessing. You know, and okay, so you're taking on the entire catalog?
We're taking on everything that everything that we've ever recorded for a record company. We can have the opportunity to go back and re-record it. And now, instead of it being owned by the record company, it is owned by the Whisper. So yeah, and we've got 27 albums that we've done. Now, we're not going to record all of them, but the ones that, you know, there's so much, you can't, as you said, you can't sing too many songs and it not be the Whispers and you don't recognize it. We've been around a long time. So man, it's just a blessing. You know, we're going to try to get as many of them recorded as we possibly can. And, you know, starting with the most popular, And the Beat Goes On, Rock Steady, It's a Love Thing. You know, all of those songs are in the process. We're in the studio right now, re-recording them, and it feels so good. Wow.
I mean, it does. It does. Now, okay, so I want to ask you, how did you find out that, is it the statute of limitations? What was it that made it so that you guys can go back into the studio, re-record, and now own your masters without any problems?
It is partially the statute of limitations. You know, the group that we work with is called B&A Music. The young lady that really brought this to our attention, her name is Wallace Ballard, and we're in business with them as a company. They're called B&A Entertainment, along with Whisper Music. And she's the one that actually came and said to us, you know, you guys are putting out small singles. You need to re-record your own music. So we didn't realize that after 30 or 40 years, you can go back and you have ownership. And this is what happened with Chuck Berry, James Brown. If you remember years ago, we heard about James Brown getting a payoff like about $63 million. That's chump change, because they owed him 4 times that. You know, but he didn't get the opportunity to go back and re-record. But like so many acts that are here today, they do have that opportunity and they can take advantage of it.
Well, there are bigger names that should be mentioned today that the younger people would recognize, like Kelly Clarkson.
Kelly Clarkson on the TV show. She went back.
She's doing the same thing. I mean, we're older acts that go back, but like DeVille said, this, as far as I'm concerned, this stain has hit us the worst as far as I'm concerned, but it didn't just hit us, it hit everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, white, black, green, but whatever you want to call
Yeah.
But the acts of today, I'm trying to think. There's another girl, Kelly Clarkson, and
yeah, country western girl. I can't think of her name either right now, but she's doing the same thing. She's going back re-recording her catalog. And normally it falls into, you get into what they call a disagreement with the record company. What that means is that the record company still wants to own you and you want to own yourself. That's basically what it boils down to, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I have to get this in my mind. So if you wrote the song, if you had anything to do with the writing of the song, or even the performance of the song, you can go back and redo it?
Yes.
Right.
Because here's what happens.
Yeah, because the writers don't get what they
the
get
writing
anyway.
doesn't have anything to do. In other words, you pay the writer in other words, when a song is written, the writer gets paid. Now, who does he get paid from? Does he get paid from the record company, or does he get paid from the person that owns the catalog? We now become the record company. You see, so nobody's left out. The writer now, he still gets compensated. He's just getting compensated from the whisper instead of Sony Records. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Wait
a minute. I'm trying to, because okay. So there are people from 80s music, 70s music that don't know this. They don't. If they go back and they redo their song, can they claim writers if they add to it?
No, they cannot.
Okay.
No, they have to pay
It can be recorded.
It can be recorded, and the writer receives his writer's royalties. Only he gets it this time from the company the guy or the person or the act that we recorded it. Right now, the song that he's getting paid by that record company. For years, there's a company in Canada that owns Solar Records, and they reaped all the benefits because they're the ones that was releasing the music.
They still are.
If a corporation wanted to go and have some music to be played on television, they go to the company in Canada. Well, now they don't have to go to the company in Canada. They can go to us. You see what I'm saying?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm thrown aback by it because to me, I never knew this. I never knew. You know how many people in the industry are going to benefit from you guys doing this?
Right. But now, and there is a statute of limitations. When you sign a record contract, it might be, it might be for 5 years or 7 years, and then after the 7 years, the company has a right to do certain things. And then after the 7 years goes by, it reverts back to whoever wants to own it. And that's what happens.
Whoever wants to record it. Yeah.
Whoever wants to record it. Absolutely.
Right.
I'm loving this.
Yeah, what I think is really beautiful for the younger acts, they can start out where we should have started out because
they can, yeah.
Well, they go in presenting a product. They don't go in wanting to record for a record company.
Yeah, and they don't have the problems that we had 40 years ago. You wasn't even in the world 40 years ago. So what was going on with Black people then? You need to go to your parents or your grandparents and they'll let you know. I mean, we don't have enough time to go today to talk about how crazy that was. But I'm just saying the point is that we are now able to finally start to benefit. Well, us in particular, we should have been benefiting 20 years ago. Not the other record companies that sell our music today, and they're dealing with it. We should have been we've been left out. Younger acts, because they're younger, they won't have that problem.
No.
But you're right. I'm glad we're doing this because we can educate, and I hate to say this, the younger Black acts. The white acts are they're gonna get hurt too, but not like us. Now, they may not want to say that. I don't have no problem with it. It's a difference between them and us. If you don't think that's true, then you're crazy.
Yep. Wow. Yeah. So you guys not only pioneered a lot of the music that came out from, 40, 50 years ago, but now you're like pioneering this too. The
most beautiful thing about this is that what the record companies didn't realize that they were doing, they made our music household names. So now when you hear our music, you know it right away. Now it's the question, who's going to benefit from it? Is it going to be them or is it going to be us?
It's going to be
so you. We're not, it's not an act selling a brand new record And the Beat Goes On, you playing The Beat Goes On, and it's heard all over the world. Now, who owns And the Beat Goes On? Who owns the rights to distribute that song called And the Beat Goes On? You know, is it Unidist in Canada? I hate to even bring the name up. Or is it us?
It's you.
It's us. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
That's right.
That's what time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you said that you're going through just the most popular ones. So how long do you think you guys are going to be in the studio, and when is this going to start being available? Because I want them. Because I don't want to go to the record label anymore. I want to go to you.
Well, we just released, And the Beat Goes On, Rocksteady, we just finished.
Yeah, we just finished doing that.
It was released, if you want to use a term, like yesterday.
Yeah, and what that means is a release. You know, any corporation, or, you know, when you watch television and you hear music, you know, those companies that play that music, they go to who distributes that music. Mm-hmm. Now we're on the list of the people that they have to come to that distribute our music. Mm-hmm. So it's a beautiful thing, you know, and we're hoping, and yeah, we're going to be recording for a while. We're not going to record the whole 27 albums, but we're going to record most of it. You know, so it's there to be available. It's there to be heard. You know, if you like Olivia Lawson Turned Out and you want to use it in a commercial, come to the Whispers. Let's do business together. You and us, not the record company.
So I'm just, you know, Leaveil, let me ask you a question. Yes. Like when you guys, did you guys all come up with this, or was it presented? It was presented by Miss Ballard, right?
Ballard, yeah, Miss Ballard.
Miss Ballard
she came up with it.
So when she presented this to you and she told you about this, how did you guys, like, did you guys get the epiphany right away, or was it like, wait a minute?
Well, I gotta say, probably it was more so the twins that got the epiphany. And then they called me and said, this is what we're going to wind up doing. You know, I've always been the guy that's always trying to push new stuff, because I always think that we need new stuff to kind of, because let's be honest, you know, we're all in our 70s now, and a lot of our fans have passed on to a better life. So our audience is getting smaller. So I've always been the guy that's always said, let's do some new stuff. So maybe we can grab some of them 30 or 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds to kind of build our demographic up a little bit more, because like Walter and Scotty said, they can still sing like they did back in, you know, when they first started. So I'm like, new people need to be aware of what we have as well, those voices that are so iconic in the industry. And so I'm kind of the guy that always wants to push the new stuff so that we can wind up, you know, getting another audience. And they're the guys that say, let's record the, you know, the past catalog, which both things are right. It's like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. So if we can do both, then we can wind up even having more longevity, because I think we have a lot more to say musically, you know, in the industry, not only the old stuff, but as well as the new stuff.
Yeah. But I have to disagree with you though. My daughter's 20 and she sings your songs in the shower. And the children and the kids that are growing up nowadays know what real music is. They're really not like liking a lot of the music that's coming out now. They're going back to Earth, Wind and Fire, the Whispers, you know, Stevie Wonder, the older stuff. They're going back to that because my daughter says, she says, garbage. So
we understand. We tend to agree with a lot.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, my grandkids feel the same way. Yeah, they've grown up listening to us all their life.
But you know, see, the good news about this is that it really doesn't matter whether it's old or new. If it's good, what Leaveil is saying, he's right. I mean, luckily for us, we can do the new and the old.
Right.
Thank God we're able to do both. But in terms of what we're really talking about, there's one word that covers this whole thing: ownership.
That's exactly right.
That's what this is really all about.
Now we're talking about the legacy of our grandkids.
See, this goes on forever.
Whoever owns it.
That's what it's about.
And this music, I mean, let's be honest. And the Beat Goes On is going to be played long after we're gone. Well, now who's going to reap the benefits of that? You know what I'm saying? That's, you know, and to Willette's credit, and when she talked about Kelly Clarkson and the other young girl, I think she had a feud with her dad. You know who I'm talking about, the young white artist.
Britney Spears.
Oh, Britney Spears?
Britney's redoing hers too, but the other girl, this is the other girl. But anyway, they had a falling out with the record company, and they were determined that they were at the stage where they could go back and recut the catalog.
Right.
And so that's when she approached us. She said, well, you guys been out twice as long as they have, you know. And when she looked into it, and we talked about statute of limitations, now we're free to go and record anything we want.
Well, see, and I go back to, I want to keep, because the more we talk about this, I can understand how some people saying it does get complicated. That's why I want to try to make it, the simple situation is that if for young people and old people, you need to own your product.
Yes.
That forget all the in between. Whatever it takes for you to own your product, that's what you need to be, especially if you're Black. That's what you need to be doing. Luckily for us, we're able to still do this at such a late age. But forget the age. It works for anybody with some sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
I got you.
Ownership is really what we're talking about. Thankfully for us, that this Miss Ballard went in and did the research and educated us, and we were able to go do what we're doing now. It's like you got people that you can relate to, like James Brown, Little Richard. They laid the way for us, but even they got beat.
Yeah, they did, big time.
You know, you say $66 million to a young person, they say, oh my God, that's a lot of money. He was underpaid. He still didn't get what he should have got. That shows you how bad the situation is when we talk about it. So that's why you need to be owning what's yours.
That's
well, you know what?
Prince said it too. Prince said it too.
Absolutely.
He said it too. He went back. I remember the whole thing with the slave, the instead of Prince, he was the symbol.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Prince. Yeah.
He got hip to it.
He basically told Warner Brothers that, you know, I'll be a slave before I let you own me. And that's, you know, I mean, give credit to him. I mean, he was younger than us. You know, he understood the importance of ownership.
Yeah.
And he finally got his catalog back. And the rest is history, you know. Yeah.
You know, you say you got a daughter 20 years old.
You look like you 20.
Like
I said that to myself.
Well, thank you. I have a 30-year-old son and a 20-year-old daughter, and I have 2 grandchildren and 1 on the way.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? Keep on doing what you're doing.
Definitely. Lots of water.
Lots
of water.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you guys so much. You know, you have opened the eyes of so many different people. Like when people like artists, and I could say like Michael Brown and Martha Walsh and Evelyn Thomas and all of these older groups and singers that got their catalogs robbed, because I'm going to say robbed because to me, that was wrong.
That's what happened. It's about. Yeah, that's true.
That's what
it's about. You know, now they can actually go back and re-record and get the proper recognition. They're not going to get the proper payments, but they're definitely going to be able to own their own masters. That is a big deal.
Yeah, actually, they're going to get paid more money. To be honest with you, they ever thought about it as an artist, because now they own everything. They determine. Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know what? Before we close this out again, we can say to you how important it is. Thank you for giving us this platform so we can tell you and any other the young acts, whoever wants to listen to this. We can't thank you enough for giving us.
Yeah, we don't take it for granted.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I don't take it lightly that you guys are with me today, talking about these subjects, bringing them out into the open, showing people that there are still some things that need to be done and need to be done right and correctly. And you can avoid these mistakes by just doing it from the beginning. It's so important that I mean, if we don't do this, then we're not giving things justice. We're not teaching our children. We're not doing anything.
Absolutely right.
Absolutely right.
Well, thank you guys so much for just coming on and being here. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. You can get all of their information. I want to make sure I say this right because I have it written down. I have notes, okay? The legendarywhispers.com. We're going to have that information in the description box below. So it's easy for you guys to go and find out where they're going and where they're going to be, because they are on tour right now.
True.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys again. And thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different. And until next time, guys, bye.
Thank you so much, my dear.
You are kidding.
I did to be different. I did.